clamp strap. Okay, we're going to start by drawing this profile. So we'll sketch this profile. We'll start here at the origin and draw our way around. So we're going to throw in some rough dimensions first, and then we'll come in and add our final dimensions for our sketch. Okay, let's go to CATIA. I'm going to sketch on the ZY or YZ plane. Okay, let's go ahead and start. So I'll do a basic profile. I'll use the profile command. Start at the origin and work my way around. Just guesstimating the size and lengths. Okay, so there's our profile. Okay, click and space to deselect. Let's throw in some dimensions. Okay, we have a height of 125 and an overall length of 9. And this is 1.125. Okay, so 1.25 for the height. The overall length is 9. Let me double check that dimension. Yep, 9 and 1.125 for this step here. I'm going to have to drag this over. It's okay, I can drag it over. Just be careful. There it is. And 1.125. Since we haven't constrained these yet, we can just freely drag these lines. They're still green. They haven't been constrained yet. Okay, let's look at the other dimensions. So we have 4, angle of 45. Okay, so we have a length of 4. And we have an angle of 45 here. All right, and we do have a fillet here. We have a fillet of 0.19. And I'm looking for this dimension. Oh, there it is, 0.50. So from here to here is 0.50 and radius of 0.19. Okay, so let's add that 0.50 from here to here. 0.50. And let's go ahead and add that fillet. So fillet from this horizontal to this vertical, it's 0.19. Okay, now notice it's still not completely green, so I'm going to grab this, trying to find out what else do I need. So I need some type of horizontal dimension. Since I can drag it horizontally, that means I'm missing some type of horizontal dimension. Let's go back to the drawing. Okay, so there it is, 7.8. So from this edge, 7.80 to that point. Okay, so 7.8. Here to that corner, 7.8. Okay, and there's our profile. Let's do a tool sketch analysis. Okay, everything's closed, looks good. All right, no openings, no gaps, no overlaps, close. And go ahead and exit. Okay, so now we're gonna do a pad. And we're gonna do a pad in both directions. We wanna be able to stay symmetrical about the YZ plane. So I wanna keep symmetry. It just makes it easier later on for assemblies or later on when we're adding some type of pattern. All right, so 150. Okay, so the overall depth is 150. Cut it in half, which is 0.75. Okay, so we're going to do a pad of 0.75 in one direction, 0.75. Preview, as you can see, 0.75 in one direction. Let's also go in the other direction by clicking the mirrored option. Hit preview, and there it is. And hit OK. Okay, so we're almost there. We got the basic shape of the part. Okay, now we need to chamfer these corners here. Let's take a look at those chamfers. Okay, so we have chamfers of 45 degrees, 0.50 by 45. So 0.50 by 45 degrees. Those are the chamfers. So let's go ahead and chamfer this part. So 0.50 for the length and 45 degrees, and hit preview. There it is. And let's pick the other three edges to chamfer. Make sure you pick the edge and not the surface. And preview, and you can see all four edges will be chamfered at 0.50 by 45 degrees, and OK, there it is. Okay, we're almost there. Okay, so now let's do the slot on top. So we're going to do a sketch here on top. Draw our sketch. And we have a slot. Make sure it's in this portion here. So we have a slot here, right? Hit normal to go back parallel to screen. Okay, so we're going to create a slot. So in case you forgot, the slot command or elongated hole command, go to rectangle, go to the pull down, go to elongated hole, and make sure it lies on the vertical axis. Click. Don't know the length, so I'm going to guesstimate. Click. And there's our slot. Okay, click in space. Notice how this construction line, this line of symmetry, lies on the vertical. So you can see there's a constraint there between the vertical and this construction line that's part of the elongated hole. Okay, let's go take a look at some dimensions for that elongated hole. Okay, so we have a radius of 0.20. And this is 3.25 from this edge to its center. 3.25. And from this center to this edge is 0.40. Okay, so we're going to use 0.40 and 3.25. So 0.40 to the center, 3.25 to the other center of the arc or elongated hole. Okay, so from this edge or horizontal to the center point, 0.40. There it is. And from center to center, which is just the construction line, 3.25. And we do have a dimension here for the radius. Here it is right there. Okay, that dimension for the radius is 0.20. And okay, and there's our slot. Okay, we'll do the holes separately using the hole command. Okay, hit normal so we can be parallel to screen. Do tool sketch analysis. Everything's closed, everything looks good. Okay, close and exit the sketch. And let's do a pocket all the way through. Okay, so pocket up to last. Up to last, hit preview. There it is. There's our elongated hole going all the way through. And okay. All right, last thing we need are the counterbore holes. So let's draw the big one first. Let's see if it allows us to draw the counterbore hole on this surface. Okay, so here we have once again counterbore holes. So we drill the little hole first, which has a diameter. Now, even though we're pointing at the large hole first, we always call out the little one first. So the little hole is 0.375. The large diameter hole, the counterbore, is 1 inch in diameter with a depth of 0.90. Okay, so this has a depth of 0.90. Okay, so let's go ahead and create that one. And notice that it lines up with this edge right here. Okay, so we're going to draw the center of the hole at 0.75 and 8.30. Okay, so let's see if we can do the counterbore from the bottom. Okay, so we're going to draw a hole on this surface. Okay, but before we do, we're going to pre-select the edges. So let me cancel. So we're going to go off of this edge and this bottom edge to locate the center of the hole. So holding on to the control key, I select this edge and this edge, hit the hole command, click the surface. And I want you to notice that it added those dimensions. So by pre-selecting the edges, sometimes it's hard to see these dimensions, but there they are. Okay, so we know this one to the center is 8.30. Okay, and this one is at 0.75. And okay. All right, so our hole, the small diameter hole, going back, small diameter is 0.375 and the large one is 1 inch at a depth of 0.90. So let's do the 375 first. Okay, so 0.375 for the small diameter hole. Go all the way to last. So it'll go through the entire material. Hit preview. You can see it's going all the way through. It's a 0.375 small diameter. Then we're going to go to type. Instead of creating a simple hole, we're going to create a counterbore hole. So the counterbore hole has a diameter of 1 and a depth of 0.90. And preview. And there it is. There's our counterbore hole. So you can see. And okay. Okay, that's the counterbore hole. Okay, so now let's move on to the next counterbore hole. We're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to pick this edge once again. And this edge to locate the center of our next counterbore hole. Hit hole command. Pick the surface. Giving us a warning that our depth is too much. It's using the numbers from the first counterbore hole and it's giving us a warning that this is too thin for the depth of the counterbore hole. Hit OK. We'll come back and fix that. All right, so the next hole that's located, it's 830 from this edge, 830 minus 938. And it's also at 0.75 with respect to this edge, 0.75. And from this edge, it's 830 minus 938. Okay, so let's change this dimension. Double click, 830 minus 0.938 and okay. And then the other dimension with respect to this edge, let's go ahead and see if we can pull this out. There it is. This one is 0.75, which is the halfway point vertically. Okay. Okay, there it is. Now let's go ahead and look at the dimensions. Okay, so the first hole is 0.313. So we always call out the little one first, the small diameter, even though it's pointing to the large one. We always call out the little one first, 0.313. And the large diameter is 625 at a depth of 0.30. Okay, so let's do the 0.313 first, diameter, the small one. Okay, so 0.313. And it's going to go through last. It's still giving us that warning because it's using the depth of the previous hole, which is way too much for this narrow piece. Hit OK. Let's go back. Now let's go to the second diameter. Hit type, counterbore. And it has a diameter of 0.625. And the depth of 0.9 is too much. That's why it's giving us this error message. The depth is 0.30. And preview. Let me double check that I have the right dimensions. Yeah, 0.625 and 0.30. Okay, so the reason we were getting the error message was because it remembered the 0.90 depth and it used that as the default for our new hole, which is way too much for this narrow piece. And okay, and there's our counterbore hole. Okay, and I made this into a simple plain counterbore hole. This is actually supposed to be threaded also. For the next assembly, there's going to be a threaded shaft going here, but we'll just keep it as a simple hole. Okay, so let's double check, make sure we didn't miss anything. Look at the PDF. Looks like we got everything. We got all the fillets, the chamfers, counterbore holes. Okay, so we're done with this item. And one thing that I do want you to consider is to add color to your parts. We're going to start assembling the clamp assembly. Add some color to it. Right-click, Properties, go to Graphic. The first one is to put color on your surfaces. The next one is to change the color of the edges. And we also have color for points. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a color. Let's just make it tan. Apply. There it is. Okay. And click in space. Give it some color. Okay, so go ahead and save your file. End of video.